Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and happy 2019 as well too. This is my first video of the year, and I thought I would go into a little bit more in depth into the carnivore diet. Last month I posted a video on what I eat in a day on the carnivore diet, so if you want to check that video out, I'll have it up here for you. But today I thought I would just kind of tell you guys what is allowed and what isn't allowed on the carnivore diet, just see if in case you're interested in trying it being the new year and maybe you're looking for a new diet or to lose a couple of pounds of those holiday pounds. This is a great diet to choose. So today I'm going to discuss with you what are some of the foods that you can have on this diet. And of course, it's all up to you. There's some people that are super strict on this diet and only eat maybe just like red meat and water and no seasonings. And there's others that consume dairy and some sauces and spices and things like that. So it's completely up to you though, but I'm just gonna give you the nuts and bolts of this diet. So keep watching if you wanna see this. So the carnivore diet is also known as the zero carb diet, although it's not exactly technically zero carbs because there are a little bit of carbs in dairy and some of the spices that are used. And it's not a true carnivore diet for some people because there are some that actually drink coffee, like I drink coffee, which is from plant-based. And same with spices. They have spices and those are from plants as well too. But the majority of what you're eating is a product of an animal. So meat and eggs and some dairy is allowed. So that all comes from the animal. So that hence carnivore diet. This diet is really good for people that have any sort of inflammation or autoimmune disorders. A lot of people have seen some improvement on autoimmune disorders like arthritis and psoriasis, things like that. So it's a good reason maybe to start this diet if you have an autoimmune condition. And along with that comes weight loss too. Protein is very satiating. So this diet is very high in protein, of course, because it's meat. So it's very satiating. So a lot of people will find that they're eating less and more less frequent meals too. So maybe like once or twice a day. So they're actually naturally intermittent fasting. So with that comes that decrease in blood sugar, that decrease in insulin response, and decrease weight loss too, because now you're just focused on burning your own body fat for fuel and you're having all that protein to sustain you as well too. And I feel like this diet is part of the ketogenic diet as well too. There's some people that follow keto carnivore, so they're having maybe some fattier cuts of meat along with the protein that they're eating, and so you're still getting some of that good fatty goodness. When I'm on this diet, I'm able to stay into ketosis. I test my blood ketones and they're all above 0.5, 0.6 every morning when I test. So it's not kicked me out of ketosis at all. Plus, I mean, I just love how I feel on this diet. I feel really good. I'm really satiated all the time, not starving. I don't have cravings for sweet things or anything else. It's the perfect diet for me, and it could be for you too. So let's check into what you can have on this diet. On the carnivore diet, the main type of food you're going to eat, of course, is meat. And you can have any types of meat from fish to beef to chicken to pork. When it comes to fish is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. You ideally want to get something that's sustainably farmed just because they're going to be lower in mercury and chemicals and other sort of contaminants that might be in the water. But some choices that you might choose are sardines. It's a really good like on the go snack that I like to have, or even a lot of times I take them for lunch when I'm in a hurry trying to get ready for work in the morning. Salmon is another good choice because it's higher in fat and still has a lot of protein in it. It's very delicious too, especially if you air fry it. And then beef. You can have all cuts of beef, from ground beef to chuck steak to ribeyes to flank steak. Any sort of roast, like any sort of beef is okay on this diet. But ideally, if you can, and if your budget allows, you always want to choose like a grass-fed meat. And the reason why you want to do grass-fed is because it has more of a omega-3 fatty acid profile compared to the omega-6s. So, too much omega-6 fatty acids can cause a lot of inflammation. So a lot of those grain-fed animals have a higher profile of omega-6 fatty acids. So that can cause a lot of inflammation in your bodies. Another reason why you want to choose grass-fed meat is that they're higher in a conjugated linoleic acid. And this is a polyunsaturated fat. It's also naturally anti-inflammatory, and it helps to build muscle and burn fat. So it's a really good nutrient to have that's in our grass-fed meats. And the way I see it is, if you have some money to spend on food, instead of buying organic produce, you want to spend that money on organic grass-fed beef. And the reason why is because of bioconcentration. You're going to get more of those nutrients that you would get from eating like an organic bell pepper or organic lettuce. Like, all that is actually the cow consumes because he's eating organic grass, and he's getting all those nutrients from that plant, which gets all of those good nutrients from that organic soil. So you're getting the most nutrients, most minerals that you possibly could, rather than sticking with organic produce and then having some grain-fed meat. So it's all those minerals and nutrients are bioconcentrated. They're all concentrated so that you're getting as much nutrition as possible out of that one slab of steak. And then along with that, some conventionally raised animals that are grain-fed are also fed products that were treated with herbicides and pesticides. So you're getting those chemicals in with your meat, because those chemicals are stored into the tissues of that grain-fed cow, specifically the fat. So if you're eating that fat from a grain-fed animal, you potentially could be getting some of those toxins and chemicals from the herbicides and pesticides as well too. So that's why I'm a proponent of grass-fed meat if you can afford it. If you can't, again, just try and go. You could do some grain feds, but try and maybe not have the fat on there, because again, that's where all those toxins are stored. Or look into fish. There's some reasonably priced fishes that are sustainably raised, or sardines. You can get Wild Planet sardines, are super cheap. So you could eat those instead too. And so you're getting all that great omega-3 goodness and conjugated linoleic acids from there too. And then of course you can have chicken. Again, you want to stick to more of a free range animal, but you can have thighs and breast and wings, all part of the chicken you can consume on this diet. And then pork too, you can have, ideally maybe it's heritage raised, so that it has all of like that really good fatty cuts in there. But you could still have sausages and bacons. I mean, that does have sugar in it, but it's such a small amount that's used to help cure the meat that it really doesn't affect your blood sugars or insulin spikes at all. So I think those are okay, as long as it's, look on the back of the package and see how many carbs are in there. You kind of do have to be wary of that. But for the most part, if you find one that's zero carb or just maybe like 1 gram of carb, you should be on the safe side. And then you can have other meats too, like wild game or lamb or bison. When it comes to wild game, you can have venison and elk and antelope, are all great choices. Especially the wild game, it's naturally grass-fed. So again, you're getting that higher concentration of omega-3s and the conjugated linoleic acids, or the CLAs, as well too. Another item you can have on this diet is eggs. Eggs are like the perfect meal because they have great fats in them, they have protein in them, and they have tons of vitamins and minerals. Specifically, it has lots of choline, which is great for cell membrane growth. It has zinc, B vitamins, selenium, fat-soluble vitamins in there, the A, D, E, and Ks. It has luteins and zeaxanthines, which are great for eye health because they're antioxidants. So tons of different minerals and nutrients in there. It really is the complete food. And of course, you do want to reach for an egg that came from a pasture-raised chicken, so look out for those. And another type of food that you can have on the carnivore diet is organ meats. And I know a lot of people are probably turned off by organ meats because they're not exactly the tastiest, but they actually have a huge amount of mineral content, and they are a great source of protein as well too. So there's all different kinds, and you can search some recipes for them that will hopefully help them taste better. I know with liver, if you soak it in milk, and that can take out that real gamey, funky flavor that it might have. But organ meats are really good for you. Heart is high in iron and vitamin B12. You can have liver, which is high in vitamin A and iron as well. Kidneys, which are high in folate and zinc and selenium. You could have brain if you wanted. I don't think I'll ever go there, but it is high in omega-3 fatty acids, as well as copper and selenium. And then there's the tongue too, which is actually pretty good in a taco, but we're on the carnivore diet. So you could have tongue by itself, and it is high in selenium and choline and potassium and iron, zinc. So a ton of good nutrition and minerals in organ meats. Another thing you can have on this diet is bone broth. And bone broth is really good, especially when you just need a little something to sip on that isn't water or coffee. So you could make your own bone broth. I love to make mine out of chicken feet and neck. And you can do beef broth as well too, and make that out of the beef marrow and some of the beef joints as well too. And bone broth is so good for you because it has a lot of collagen, which is great for your joints. And also, but it helps with you need collagen in your skin too, to help your skin have that more youthful appearance. Another category of foods that you might consider on the carnivore diet is dairy products. Now, of course, you want to consume these in moderation, though. You don't want to go heavy on the cheese and the creams and things like that, because dairy actually has lactulose in it, so it's a sugar. So that might be able to cause an insulin spike, especially if you're trying to lose some weight, and especially if you're using this diet as an anti-inflammatory diet or an elimination diet. I would not recommend you consume dairy on this, but it's okay in small amounts. Some people do consume a little bit of dairy and they still have results. So you could take things like cream or some cheeses you could do. Possibly if you wanted to, you could go with a plain yogurt that was higher in fat. But that's a little iffy. But again, you're just wanting to limit the consumption of dairy, just because some people do react to it and it can cause inflammation. So some condiments that you can use on this diet. Ideally, you just want to stay away from any sort of sauce, but you can cook with salt and pepper are fine. You can cook with small amounts of spices are probably okay too. I mean, spices do have carbohydrates in them, but it's not like you're eating a huge tablespoon at a time or something like that. It's just a dusting or a sprinkling. So it shouldn't really make that big of an impact on your results. For cooking oils, ideally you want to use animal products and not vegetable oils. So I reach for some grass-fed butter or ghee are my two cooking oils that I use to cook my meat with. The ghee has a little bit higher of a smoke point, and I think it's about 400 or 450. So that's great if you need to cook something at a higher heat, like if you're searing a steak or something like that. It's good for that. And for drinks, you can have water, and some people consume coffee, but you don't want to have any sweeteners in your coffee. You could have a little bit of cream if you wanted, but ideally just black coffee if you're going to drink it. But you can have water, any sort of water. Bubbly water is fine, plain tap water is fine, but those are the beverages that are allowed on this diet. So the things that you can't have, though, you can't have sweeteners, specifically artificial sweeteners. There's no nuts allowed on this diet, no vegetables allowed on this diet, no vegetable oils. It's just strictly products that come from the animal is what's allowed on the carnivore diet. So I hope you guys can see that eating an all-meat diet is actually very nutritious for you. You're getting all of your necessary fats and proteins and nutrients and minerals all from the meat, especially if you have a well-balanced carnivore diet with choosing different cuts of meat like beef and chicken and fish, and going with some organ meats. Those are all going to have all the necessary minerals and nutrients you need to build a healthy body. Now, some people do say that, how do you not get scurvy on this diet because you're not getting any vitamin C? You really don't. And the reason why, it's all in the scientific literature, but vitamin C and glucose compete for the same transporter in the body. So if you're eating a diet high in glucose, it's not allowing that vitamin C molecule to hook onto that transporter so that you could get the vitamin C benefits that your body needs, the antioxidant benefits it needs for vitamin C. So that's actually why a lot of people that consume a lot of carbohydrates get sick a lot. This is my theory of why they get sick a lot, because they don't have any vitamin C, a natural antioxidant to help protect you against any sort of bug or virus that might come your way. And so people that consume a carnivore diet, they're not consuming any sugars. So unless you're getting it from dairy, but it's mainly a low sugar diet. So you don't have that competition, so the vitamin C can actually get to where it needs to go and produce its action in the body. So there's no risk of scurvy or any sort of mineral deficiency on this diet, especially if it's done right. So that's it. That's what you guys can eat on this diet. I hope you give this diet a shot. I really like it. I feel like it's one of the diets that's worked really great for me, along with just a basic ketogenic diet as well too. Let me know if you guys want more videos on the carnivore diet, maybe some more research or scientific facts, things like that, maybe some more what to eat on the carnivore diet. Let me know down in the comments below so that I can produce those for you. See you guys.